Now that there was a picture of Hill Street Methodist Church, and the manse was shown there on the left, and the Wesleyan Centenary Chapel 1859, and the schoolhouse, the old schoolhouse, which is now turned into a Methodist church, or the church, the present day church they have today. And in that new church we saw there a plaque to Charles McCormick and his wife Henrietta. That's the connection between Carrowmore Lachan and Hill Street, Ballina. Now this information was given to me by Mary McCormick, who published this account of the Western People about 1983 or 84. The McCormicks came to Ballina around 1808 as one of the two Methodist ministers, while Charles McCormick did as one of the two Methodist ministers appointed to the Ballina circuit. The old Methodist church and the manse was built in 1839, well 1859 I see down on the chapel. The schoolhouse was built later in 1857, well that's the present day Methodist church. Now Charles married a Mayo woman, Henrietta Smith, from Gurtner Abbey, that's out the Crossmolina area. They had 5 in family: James, John, William, Samuel and Jane. Charles died on the 9th of December 1863. He was 85 years. His wife Henrietta died on the 17th of January 1865. She was 76 years old. Now that in the new church there we saw the monument to both of them, which reads, in memory of Reverend Charles McCormick, Methodist minister, who died 9th of December 1863 in the 85th year of his age, and of Mrs. Henrietta McCormick, his wife, who died 17th January 1865 in the 76th year of her age. Reverend, 15th, 5. This was erected by their youngest son. That's the inscription on the memorial.
That's the photograph of Charles. Samuel McCormick.
She was from
Gurtner Abbey, wasn't it?
Well, her parents were from Gurtner Abbey.
Yeah. Henrietta Smith, the wife of Charles McCormick.
That was Henrietta Smith, and she came from Crossmolina. She was the wife of Charles McCormick, and we also saw a picture of Samuel there. Now Samuel Crozier McCormick was born in 1832 and he died in 1911. He became a solicitor. He and his family lived in Dublin for some time. He leased the McCormick farm and Carrowmore House from the Palmers. Well, it wasn't the McCormick farmer in those days, it was the Carrowmore farm. Sir William Roger Palmer the Baronet was there at the time. Now in 1870 Samuel Crozier purchased it outright. He was involved in many legal transactions until his death on the 11th of January 1911. He is buried in Redman Cemetery, and the McCormicks have been in Carrowmore ever since 1870, with the coming of Samuel Crozier. And this is a shot of his tombstone in the southeast corner of Redman Cemetery. Now that there was a photograph of Niall McCormick and his missus. Now he was born in Carrowmore in the year 1888, and he was educated in Wesley College, Dublin, and he was forced to come home and run the farm here at Carrowmore before he had finished his education. Now he got involved in the life of the community. He married a Knox woman from Palmerstown. He was elected to the Mayo County Council in the 20s and was associated with several works around. He got the Strong Wall built at Kilcummin in 1929. He got tar spraying of local roads done. He got the building of the chapel, the old chapel wall on the Strand side, done. and I think he was involved in getting a survey done with a view to putting a bridge on Lacken Strand, which cost a sizable amount of money at the time, I'm told. He established a local security force here around the years 1940 to 1945, during the war years. He drilled and trained many of the locals around here. They had a kind of uniform, a kind of khaki uniform. Their duty was to report any unusual sightings around the coast or strand or on the roads. They patrolled the roads at night time. They trained and drilled in Killigary Hall, which was called the Lay School, and Langens Hall. Now he also set up the Lacken Pipers Band. Niall was a man that was very interested in bagpipe music on account of his Scottish roots around the island of Mull, I'm told. And the band members trained up in his harness room at night time. Philip Lavin was the pipe major. Other members were Willie Nealon of Killigary, Patrick Nealon, Paddy Brady of Lissadrone, Mickey McHale of Lissadrone, Sonny Burke, who was on the big drum, Willie Boyd of Ballinallit, his son Donald McCormick, and Willie Burke, Ned Gorman, and others. They won prizes and medals at local fashion. They played at St. Patrick's Day parades down the strand at Lacken, football matches and memorials. They existed around the year 1947. It was due to Niall McCormick's zeal and enthusiasm that this band was in Lacken. Now this is a picture here of the band, Lacken Pipers Band. Cut Land. Niall McCormick, Willie Nealon, Ned Gorman, Donald McCormick, Sonny Burke, Patrick Nealon, Mickey McHale of Lissadrone, Paddy Brady, and Willie Burke. Pipe Major. Niall McCormick. Now, during this period, many cattle were dying from a disease called blood scour. His yard and medicines were available to the people of Lacken, who used it where veterinary surgeons had failed. He cured many of them. The farmers repaid him by giving him days working on the farm. He often lent his horses, shifters, machines, tractors and ploughs to assist the impoverished farmers of the area and all around Lacken. He gave a lot of employment too to the people of Fohol. He was generally a good man in the community. He brought over a kind of pine tree or spruce tree from Culloden in Scotland, where Bonnie Prince Charlie was defeated in 1746 and gave up the right to the throne of Scotland from then on, while he wasn't a threat to it anymore. And now this plant grows in the front lawn in front of the house. This happened in the 1960s. Now he collected many stone querns which are displayed at the front of the house. He went forward as a Fine Gael candidate for Dáil Éireann in 1947, and he wasn't elected, and after that I think he gave up politics, his seat in the county council. He farmed here in Carrowmore from then on until his death on the 22nd of July 1980 at the age of 92. He is buried in Roughrance Cemetery beside his father. Tombstone of Niall on the right and Samuel Crozier on the left in Roughrance Cemetery. This place right here was the main entrance up to the farmer's house one time. Then the shifter from here down. This door here was called the wicket, for the servant or the postman's entrance, delivering up to the beach house. Present day main entrance to Carrowmore House. I'm told that the shifter is from the other side of the wicket down to here to ease the pull on the horses going up the hill. Must be after the Palmer's time or during the Palmer's time. That little tree we saw there was taken over in the 1960s by Niall McCormick from Culloden in Inverness-shire in Scotland, where Bonnie Prince Charlie was defeated in 1746. And it's grown down here now, Carrowmore. Well, them couple of pictures we saw there were of stone quadrants that McCormick had gathered up from different places, some off the land and some from other places, and also of the Carrowmore residence or Carrowmore House. Now McCormick himself was interested in folklore and in historical information about the area. Now Carrowmore House, it is a Georgian house built by the Palmers, probably by Sir Roger Palmer. I'm not sure of this, the baronet. These Georgian houses were built around the years 1760 to 1800, or some of them maybe afterwards, during the reign of George IV. Noted architects in this era were Kent, Gibbs and Van Brugh. Later came the Adams brothers. Now they have had their own features like flat arches, circular niches, decoration in plasterwork, especially in ceilings. I think this was called stucco. I'm not sure either. They also used brick structures, timber floors, timber roofs, and sashes in the windows. Inside the houses were panelled, the plastered ceilings, and they also had classical mouldings all around the ceilings. Carrowmore House has these too. Georgian designers were always trying to obtain their effects in the most simple and refined manner, possibly to achieve the appearance of lightness and grace. Well, that's some information about Georgian houses, and I think Carrowmore House is one of these. Now here is some information that was written on the Irish paper in you by Rishta Glashna. Now there we see, written from the Irish paper, Neil McCormick, Niall McCormick, Moch, Hatogu, Mrak Gaeltat. It's a kind of the half Gaeltat. Written by this fella here. It's written from the Irish periodical in you. An account of Carrowmore Lachamick and the Willow. Now this must have been written recently, because Niall was about 92 years at the time. In fact, it was written the 2nd of May 1980. You'll see the name of the paper there in you. Now the Mo we've seen there means a Methodist. What Glashna has said there, translation of it would be, Niall McCormick is an interesting figure in that countryside. He's a Protestant Methodist, one-time member of the local defence force and one-time county councillor. He was born in October 1887, well I have 1888 down. He is now over 92 years of age. He knows and respects Andrew O'Curduff, that would be Henry Curduff from Rossport area. He is deeply interested in the native culture and has read a good deal on the subject. Now he also talks of Tomás O'Malley, that would be Tom Mealy as they call him, or O'Malley, from the village of Fohan. in the parish of Lacken, and his father, Pats, they were stonemasons. It was they who, in the year 1888, raised the two-storey slated house which stands in the yard of the farm on which Niall lives. They'll be the builders of some kind of house out in the yard in 1888. This is a picture of her with her husband, Captain Wynne Roberts, Captain Charles Wynne Roberts. There's Captain and Mrs. Mackenzie Berner on the left. Now, actress Joyce Redman, she was born in London, although she gives her address down as Carrowmore, County Mayo. Niall McCormick of Carrowmore here was her uncle, and she spent a lot of her holidays here at Carrowmore House while she was at school in London. In fact, she still visits this place now and again. In London she studied at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, where she got a comedy prize. And this is a picture of her in that role from cuttings that the McCormicks and now the Burkes of Carrowmore House have kept ever since, in the late 1930s. Balked by Blitz Mayo girl 1 second tilted vein. Joyce Redman with her amazing makeup. The title part of Lady Precious Stream. An account in the paper about her. After this she took very small parts on the London stage, and as her fame grew she moved into major roles. She was in performances such as Lady Precious Stream that we saw there, Shadow and Substance, and then her mother was dead at the time, and her father's her father's name, we didn't give it yet, was Major S.G. Redman. He was an engineer in Africa. Now, she played in Henry IV along with Laurence Olivier, and the papers of the day describe her as a major surprise and a major riot. And there are pictures from the October paper of 1945 with her illustration after touring Europe that she prefers Mayo, or Mayo. Miss Joyce Redman has toured Europe, prefers Mayo. Here she is with her favourite Alsatian dog. She played in The Alchemist. She worked mostly with the Old Vic repertory company. It was under the leadership of Laurence Olivier, well-known actor, Ralph Richardson, Dame Sybil Thorndike, and Miss Joyce Redmond and others. It was a London company. She was also in plays and productions, performances such as Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing, Dr. Faustus, Uncle Vanya, Peter Pan, and Columba. She was married in New York in 1947 to Captain Charles Wynne Roberts of the Royal Artillery. He was then representing the Baird Television Company in the USA. She was the sister of Mrs. Mackenzie Berner, wife of Captain Mackenzie Berner of Bartra, Ballina. Well, we saw that from the early photograph. Now here are some pictures from some of the roles she played in different plays on stage in London. This is the magazine illustrated, and here she is playing the role in Richard III. Old Vic in the West End, along with Margaret Leighton. This is her over here. There she is as Sonia and Uncle Vanya. Joyce Redman plays the quite domesticated Sonia in the production of Uncle Vanya. And now in the band, she is seen in the role of the pet maid servant Luca. There she is as Lady Anne in Shakespeare's Richard III. Here she is as a Norwegian girl in Solveig. Here she is with Margaret Leighton getting on the makeup in the background. This is her here. Joyce Redman. In tonight's television play, Johnson Wants No Gentleman. Joyce Redman's playing All's Well That Ends Well, another Shakespearean production. Here with her 4-year-old daughter, Francesca, and the cat Whiskey. Here the Patrick Clint has ever done it, writing about Bartra, story of an island princess. An Irish girl came home to a paradise. He compares it with any island paradise off the coast of Florida, with the trees and climate and whatever. He hasn't been around this summer of 1985. Here the Grand Theatre Leeds advertises The Angel, Joyce Redman. There where the X is, her name is advertised. Joyce Redman at home with her daughter, Francesca. Here she gets a write-up in a paper for playing in The King's Pilot or Sir Walter Raleigh. Another play she was in. Her name is mentioned down here near the bottom. Joyce Redman. Here she is at home with husband and children, too. Francesca and Finn. Seem to be 3 of them there. Another picture of the actress with her daughter, Francesca. Another picture of the actress in younger days. Probably during her time of study. Another clipping from a paper. Miss Joyce Redman, the County Mayo stage and screen star, who had a first red triumph in Shadow and Substance in May. Also leading Claudia, St. Martin's Theatre. Here she is in the foreground, Mary Hinton and Joyce Redman from the French play Asmodee. Here Carrowmore mentions her name. Down here you can see it, Joyce Redman. Here she is in scenes from The Alchemist, the old production. Over here's another one. St. Joyce Redman, 26-year-old Irish actress from the little village of Carrowmore, County Mayo, who had the important role of Bridget, and Bridget's young servant. Yes. Some correspondent has her down here, Mayo to Mayfair. Joyce Redman has travelled far since she left Lacken, Mayo. England has seen her in many roles. Alice Through the Looking Glass with the old big company. Also a comedian. Seems she could perform any role. This is from the Irish Independent. Miss Joyce Redman played the beautiful Irish Colleen, got her big chance last night when she played the lead in Lady Precious Train. Now she says, I am so happy. It is my big chance. I do hope the people back home in Carrowmore, County Mayo will be proud of me. It seems she was always proud of her connection with Carrowmore in the parish of Lacken. New actress's romance. Miss Joyce Redman married in New York. Remarkable tribute to her work. One of the half-dozen leading actresses on the English-speaking stage. Actress on holiday. Miss Joyce Redmond thinks there's no place like Mayo. And we see Mr. McCormick at Carrowmore, Lacken, County Mayo mentioned down there. And he was her uncle. Pictures from her early days at the theatre. John Mill's production of the dramatic new play Angel. Scenes from The Alchemist. Irish Girl Success. Young actress wins distinction in London, niece of Mr. Niall McCormick in Board of the Year. That would be one of our earlier, some of our earlier work. Some more coverage from the Sunday Chronicle, May the 30th, 1943. Now, actress Jane Redman was a sister of Mrs. Mackenzie Venner, wife of Captain Mackenzie Venner of Bartra. Now, she visits Carrowmore House frequently, and was there when her uncle Niall McCormick died around the 1980s. She was always proud of the fact that she came from here, as all the newspaper clippings bear out this fact. They had the address down for Carrowmore, County Mayo. In fact, it's down so often that a journalist or paper correspondent who calls himself the Surveyor wanted an answer to a question: which of the Mayo's 21 Carrowmores did she come from? Well, now, Carrowmore is an anglicisation of the Gaelic word Carrowmore, which means the big quarter of land. And he writes, Miss Redman plays the part of the Canon's domestic servant. She is only 25 and has, according to the critics, reached what we might call Picardian heights in stardom. Now, of course, he's referring to the play Shadow and Substance. Now, he wants an answer. An answer wanted he is down. All this set to the question to which no answer has yet been given. Which Carrowmore is the one designed or designated? In County Mayo there are no less than 21 Carrowmores, 5 in Claremorris, 4 in Ballinrobe, 3 in Ballina, 2 in Castlebar, and 1 each in Belmurd, Foxford and Louisburg. Newport, Westport, districts. He forgot to mention Lacan. There is no prize for the answer, but as a matter of interest, maybe some County Mayo reader will tell us to which Carrowmore Miss Redman lays claim as the place of her birth. Now, down at the bottom here, Carrowmore, by the way, he says, comes from the Gaelic Carrowmore, meaning the Great Quarter. Well, he discovered that much. But he didn't discover that it was in the parish of Latin. It had been none of the Carrowmores that he had referred to. Now, actress Jane lives on with her husband, Captain Charles Wynne Roberts, in Kent. She has appeared not too long ago in the series Tales of the Unexpected. It's on Irish television, Channel 2, I think. She has a son in the theatre also. I think his name is Crispin Wynne Roberts. Now, all this information and paper clippings I've got from the McCormicks, now Burkes, of Carrowmore House, where they have kept them down all through the years.